Hi, and welcome to Flossom Talk, the podcast. I'm Kjersti Flå, and this is my fourth episode of my special podcast that I do once a week. Most of you might know me from YouTube, where I do everyday updates about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's legal feud. But here on my podcast once a week, I will talk about other things as well, a lot about my experiences in Hollywood, good or bad, and about working as an entertainment reporter and other interesting trends in pop culture that I find interesting. Today, I put out a post on my YouTube channel asking people if there's anything you want me to talk about specifically here on this podcast. And I got so many amazing suggestions. So I will go through that list and find things. And if you haven't seen that yet, please check out my YouTube channel, Flossom Talk. Last week, I spoke about big egos in Hollywood and how these big egos are protected by the machinery around them. As I said before on my YouTube channel, I think that's one of the things that surprised people maybe the most about this is how protective everything is. In this episode, I want to dig a little bit deeper on what happened to the mystery of Hollywood. How did this endless access that we have to celebrities change the way we look at them? And how has it stripped away the glamour? Where did the magic go? And what does that mean for the authenticity that we expect? Is real celebrity dead? I remember the time when celebrities were kind of enigmas. There were this mystery surrounding them. They were kind of larger than life, and they were so untouchable and so unreachable. Of course, we never knew what they were eating for breakfast. We didn't know their skincare routine or what their bathroom looked like or who they texted at 2 a.m. in the morning. I think that mystery and that distance we had to the celebrities is what made them stars. Think about it. Old Hollywood icons like Paul Newman, Audrey Hepburn, they weren't constantly exposing themselves and explaining themselves. Everything we saw from them was curated interviews, black and white portraits, or we saw them on a big screen. There was a space between us. And in that space, we could project whatever we wanted. Elegance, glamour, wisdom, even perfection. But today, that space is gone. We know what celebrities eat. We know what they think. We know what they feel. We know what they vote. We know what they fear. And we hear about it all day long. The mystique has been replaced by content. We have traded mystery for access. I actually did a documentary on this that you can find on my YouTube channel about how social media killed the movie star and how, as soon as we got so much access to their real lives, they became just like us. Remember in the magazines, they used to have these columns or pages that was devoted to celebrities or stars. They're just like us. And you would see a star drink a cup of coffee or maybe fill up their car with petrol. And we were like, oh, wow, she filled up her car with petrol herself. Oh, look, he went to Starbucks and he's got his name on the cup. Wow, that's really unique. Today, we see that every single day on social media. The celebrities have become influencers, and the influencers are also celebrities. They don't feel elevated anymore. They feel like a part of the algorithm. And maybe that's why we stopped being so forgiving, as we've seen with Blake Lively. I mean, she has been the same person for the last 37 years, but we never spoke about it before. Maybe we didn't know, maybe because she was hiding it really well. But now we've seen what kind of person she really is, and we are not forgiving her. And I think when you sell yourself as just like us, we start holding you to the same standard. And when you fail, we don't see a tragic fall from Olympus. We just see another person who lied for likes. Were the stars different before than they are today? Is this a cultural shift that we are seeing right now? I'm not just talking about messy private lives, because that's been a thing for celebrities for years. There's always been scandals surrounding celebrities. What I'm talking about now is how stars have built entire brands around being relatable. Stars didn't want to be relatable before. They wanted to be an enigma. Today, the stars want to be relatable. And one of the reasons for that is because they want to sell us stuff. They want us to buy their products. So they're creating these relatable personas that are kind, funny, grounded. And then we realize it was just a performance. And then we get so disappointed because then we feel like they fooled us. They lied to us. We followed these people on Instagram. We shared their posts. We bought their products and we realize it was all a lie. I used to believe that fame revealed greatness. So for me, coming from Norway, of the way I grew up with celebrity, I never saw a celebrity. Obviously, there weren't many Hollywood stars coming to Norway. And I remember I was imagining things going on in Hollywood, that there was like one red carpet, like going through Hollywood, and people just walk up and down that red carpet. I was very young when I thought that's the way things worked. But I had this idea of this mystery world where these people were like not really real people, even. I just adored the Hollywood stars. My mom used to buy these gossip magazines, and I would cut out pictures of them and I would hang them on the wall. Sometimes there was a poster attached. I would make, you remember Dynasty, that soap opera? That was the first soap opera that I showed in Norway, and I was obsessed with it. And I would cut out all the actors in Dynasty, and I will put them on a collage on my wall. And then I'd memorized how they do their autographs. So I knew how to write Pamela Sue Martin, Linda Evans, Sammy Joe. I don't remember her real name now, but I knew all these characters so well, and I knew how to do their autographs. My whole wall was covered with these people. I never imagined in my wildest dreams that I would meet any of these people. Obviously, that was not on my list of what I wanted to do in my life because I thought that they almost didn't exist. And back then, I thought it was kind of exciting that these celebrities weren't like us. I thought it was really cool that they were like divas, that some of them would ask these crazy things. I only want to eat green M&Ms, and you have to put them in a bowl for me. Otherwise, I won't perform. There were stories like, of course, people like Maria Carey, who had these outrageous things that she wanted 20 white kittens and 100 white does for a Christmas lighting event, which was denied by organizers. She would only drink champagne of certain straws, and she would also bring her own lighting with her to wherever she was going, to interviews. So she would always have the perfect lighting on her face. I remember Magnus told me he interviewed her, my partner, and he said it was one of the worst experiences ever. He waited for her like 4 or 5 hours in a hotel corridor. She got there and she really didn't want to be there. And he asked her, "What are you dreaming about right now?" And she said, "Leaving this room." Poor Magnus. So he was sitting there waiting for so long to interview her, and she just wanted to leave. Anyways, and then you have some people like Jennifer Lopez. She's also known for having all these demands. There was even rumors about her insuring her butt for $27 million, which she claims is not true. I don't know what to believe of these things. Madonna, obviously, she only wanted to bath in Voss water, and she wanted a new toilet seat for every venue she went to. Barbara Streisand, who asked people to turn their back when she was passing them in the hallway. And more recently, younger stars like Justin Bieber, he had a meltdown because he didn't get the right socks. Yeah, these were stories about celebrities that I just ate them up, and I thought it was so so exotic that some people were like that. I never really questioned it. And I don't know about you guys, if you questioned these kind of behavior before, or if you thought like me, like, oh wow, that's pretty amazing. These people are so famous. They can do whatever they want. And that was kind of cool. But today things are very different. And I think it has to do, again, with social media. I think being famous isn't what it was because so many people can be famous and so many people are famous today. There's so many famous people on social media. I remember in our apartment in West Hollywood, I was walking around with Oscar one evening for an evening walk, and I saw this crowd, like huge crowd of people, probably 100 people following this guy around. I didn't know who he was, and someone was like, "Oh, he's a famous YouTuber," and I was like, "Wow." I've never seen people behave like that in front of any celebrity. So these new celebrities are, of course, taking up the space as well. But side note there, someone told me, a photographer who's worked with a lot of big celebrities, and he said, the worst celebrities are the social media celebrities. They are much more demanding. My neighbor actually told me this story recently. There was a movie with Julia Roberts and George Clooney. premiering, and they had this Instagram influencer that they were representing, and she was going to walk the red carpet. And then she was demanding all these things, that she had to have a special car. And she also wanted to walk the red carpet with George Clooney and Julia Roberts. And she was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So, yeah, I'm not saying that social media stars are any better behaved than movie stars or rock stars, but there are a lot more celebrities. But because fame is so much more accessible, it's also a lot more replaceable. And that's another reason that I think there are so few new movie stars. And I think Hollywood is to blame. They were pushing all celebrities to be on social media, while at the same time they were really doing them a disfavor. They wanted to sell their movies through social media, and they wanted the celebrities to have a lot of followers, and they wanted the celebrities to be relatable because they thought that was a great marketing strategy. And maybe it was for a while, but now that has really backfired. I think most celebrities we know are traveling with these teams of camera people and everyone doing the social media for them. Some are doing it by themselves. And sometimes, like we're seeing right now with, for example, Justin Bieber, who's obviously doing his social media by himself, you can see into his world and how it's falling apart, and we're watching it in real time. And things like that never happened before because celebrities were so protected. Now they're just like loose cannons, and the PR and marketing machinery around them has kind of lost control. And I think another reason why we're not worshiping celebrities anymore is that we have learned more about how everything works. We know PR manipulation when we see it. And I think a lot of you have seen this now with Blake Lively, how hard her PR people are working around her to try and save her image, while she at the same time is doing the opposite. And they're posting and planning and planting stories about her that puts her in a positive light. And then she goes out and says something stupid or shows off on social media. And everyone's probably just like pulling their hair out. I think another reason why celebrities have fallen from grace is that we are not impressed with their fortune and how they're flashing money, how they're showing off, how they travel in private jets, live in their 8-bedroom houses, and have drivers and housekeepers, 7 cars. These things are kind of gross, and it's not a good way of living. You don't need 7 cars. You don't need 7 bedrooms when you're 2 people. And I think people aren't really admiring that kind of lifestyle anymore. It's like, why do you need to have a yacht? Why do you need to have a private jet? Why do you need to pollute? Why do you have a carbon footprint that's probably 1,000 times more than a regular person? And then you brag about it. It's not sexy. I also think a lot of people started being turned off by celebrities when we saw examples of how some of them have been huge frauds. They branded themselves as kind, real, grounded, and often they ended up being the worst people. We have people like Ellen DeGeneres. She was the be kind queen, and guess what? She wasn't. She was warm, quirky, and kindness was kind of her brand. And then we realized that she was not very kind to people she worked with, and it kind of really blew up. And I think people got so disappointed in her. She was accused of having a toxic workplace. She was accused of bullying. It was really nasty things. And I think people got really heartbroken by that because they had bought her brand for so long. They chose to believe in her. They chose to believe that she was the person she portrayed. But then it was all a big fat lie. Same with Chrissy Teigen. She was like the queen of Twitter, funny, outspoken, unfiltered. Everyone was kind of like, oh, I love her. She's so quirky. And then, bam, she turned out to be a bully. Her relatability was not genuine. She was a mean person. Same kind of with James Corden, who also, I was so shocked when I heard that he wasn't a nice person. He was also sold as this warm, cozy, funny. He was kind of like the humble British guy. He was like one of us. But then voila, he was rude. He was rude to staff. He was rude in restaurants. people, I remember I was reading stories about him, people were sharing online about how rude he was. And I was like, wow, I would never, ever have guessed that. Then you have someone like Gwyneth Paltrow, who was selling us this wellness guru thing that she was so relatable. She was disciplined, uplifting, she was spiritual, she had all these qualities and very relatable. Not so much, actually. I never thought she was relatable. But then it all seems like this elitist wellness scam. Like all her products that she was selling on Goop were just like super overpriced. And she was selling us a lot of just crap. I think for me, the biggest shock was probably Will Smith. When he walked up and slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars, I thought that was planned. I was watching it live and I was like, wow, that didn't happen. Because Will Smith is one of those people. If you would have asked me a few years ago who were my like top list of favorite people to interview, Will Smith would be on the top of that list. And Ryan Reynolds would follow very close. He was also super nice to interview. So if someone would have told me today what I know about Ryan Reynolds, I wouldn't believe them. I would be like, no way he's like that. And that's also one of the reasons I was so shocked when Will Smith did what he did. Because I've met him so many times and he's always been the most generous and nice and polite and energetic and positive person. And I was like, wow, who is this man? And I think the more of these celebrities that slip up like this and show us who they really are, we start questioning the other celebrities. Who are these people? Why are they all selling us something fake? Or are some of them actually nice people? I would say that I've met a lot of nice celebrities too, that I'm hoping are those kind of people in real life. I think when you see celebrities out and about, I've seen some of them in New York, and you see them how they react with regular people. That's when you see who they really are. You know, most people are smart enough to behave nicely in front of a journalist, except Blake Lively. But I think a lot of celebrities show their real self when they are dealing with people that they see as beneath them, like drivers, waiters, even cleaning personnel. If you're being rude to anyone, I think that says a lot about you, especially if I'm going to a restaurant and I see someone being rude to a waiter. I'm like, I don't like you and I don't want anything to do with you. I know exactly what kind of person you are. I think a problem for celebrities now that are trying, that have slipped up and they're trying to apologize, we don't really buy it. I remember I saw that video with Will Smith when he was trying to apologize. He just came back from India, I think. He went there to find himself and he was talking on this video about how he had forgiven himself. And I'm like, no one cares if you forgave yourself. You're not apologizing to yourself. I mean, that to me was just like, how your ego is so big that you think that people care if you actually forgave yourself. The people that you should ask for forgiveness to, which he really didn't until after a really long time. I don't remember exactly what happened there, but Chris Rock said he never heard from him. As we all seen when we follow the Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds drama, we have seen a couple that everyone thought were someone else. We've seen this loving couple who love to joke around. They sold us like this perfect image of their marriage. They have all these kids. They even managed to keep the kids out of the public eye, which seems like, oh, they're really protecting their kids. They were both charming and witty and grounded, down to earth. And both were like effortlessly cool. Even Blake was like a fashion icon. And they made fun of Hollywood. And they gave us just enough to make us believe that we knew who they were, which we obviously didn't. Now we realize that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were just products. They were just a marketing campaign. They're just a brand. Everything is curated. Their sound bites, their magazine spreads, their Instagram posts, everything is curated for us to believe that they are something they're obviously not. That they're a gorgeous, relatable, philanthropic, funny couple who we all should aim to be like. What I have realized is the more educated or intelligent the celebrity is, the nicer they are. I think some of the people that have to be rude to people are not very smart. And I think sometimes some celebrities aren't really smart in general. And I think that to me has been kind of a disappointment too. I'm not going to mention names of people that I don't think are very smart, but I can say that some people that I thought would be a lot more interesting turned out to be really boring. Anyways, that's it for me, you guys. Please keep sending me suggestions for what you want me to talk about here at flawsometalk@gmail.com, or just put a comment on this video if you're watching on YouTube. And again, thank you so much for all your support. You guys are amazing, and I'll see you in my next episode, or I'll see you every day on YouTube.